Órale, Holmes. All right, chef and the homeboy Preheat coming out here from Fresno, Barrios Unidos, California Openlands, straight out of Cali. All right, what we're doing today is going to be winter squash lion's mane pozole. We're going vegan because, you know, we're just tired of eating chicken, beef, and pork. Yeah, we're getting back to our ancestral lands, our ancestral foods. First thing we want to do is we want to cut, core. I did all that. It's pretty self-explanatory. Didn't want to bore everybody with all of the cleaning and details, but real simple. You just want to go ahead and throw some oil on it and season it with salt. I'm going to massage this beautiful winter squash. Make sure the oil gets in there evenly coated. Flip it upside down and get to the next one. So these are different forms of delicata squash. This is an acorn squash. They were all grown here locally within a couple 100 miles. Hand that over to homie Preheat. He'll throw that in the oven. Just like the squash, you want it to roast to develop flavors, and that's kind of like all we want to do. This right here is a blend of 3 dried chilies. It's pasilla, guajillo, and ancho. So the same thing, when Preheat comes back, we're gonna throw this in the oven, and this is gonna help develop flavor as well. I'm gonna go in the oven until it's ready, until it looks a little bit like me. So while we're waiting for that to get roasted, what we're gonna do is we're gonna preheat this pan, and we're gonna get our lion's mane nice and seared. We're gonna sear the lion's mane because once we sear the lion's mane, it's gonna be able to hold up better in liquid. So it gives it a lot like that texture of meat. We go ahead and coat it nice. Now we want to sear the mushrooms now because everything else is going to go in the same pot. We're going to saute the onion, we're going to saute the garlic, all in the same pot to develop more flavors.
Well, one of my favorite things about cooking mushrooms is that they're not meat or they're not a plant. You know, the fungi is part of its own kingdom, and we still have so much to learn from these amazing beings from soil regeneration to even regenerating parts of our bodies. Lots of anti-cancer fighting properties found within mushrooms, coming out more and more every day, studies.
And just like that, we have some nice roasted chilies. You know, this is like a recipe that varies from state to family to town to region. You know, for us, for a long time, the mixture of chili and, you know, corn or maize has been something we've been doing for so long. All right, so right after this is done, we're gonna go ahead in there and go with the onion and the garlic and saute those up for a little while. Let that sweat for a little bit while I go check on the squash. Can't really tell from that side, but right here, if you flip it over, all these squash look beautiful. So after you take it out the oven, let it cool down for a little bit, you scoop it out, it looks like pumpkin puree. A little tomato paste, again, for flavor and for color. Add a little bit of juice to our liquid in the back. Now that it's nice and caramelized, you can smell the tomatoes caramelized also. You want to add some of your broth to the pan, deglaze a little bit. Now that that's good, we deglaze the pan. Put all that mushroom, garlic broth in there. Now adding the pumpkin. Can I get a lid, please?
Right?
Yeah, it works.
That works.
In the back right here, I'm gonna get the hominy. Just bring it back up to temperature so when I puree the soup, I could just drop that in. These are the mushrooms after we had seared them. Looks a lot like chicken, but tastes a lot better than chicken, I promise you that. So we have here a little bit of spice, which is basically oregano and chili flake. All right, so now we're just going to put the immersion blender in and start going. Can you go ahead and pour some of that in here? Pour away from you. There you go. You go away. All right, last steps are adding the hominy. And the lion's mane. All right, so now that everything is done, we go ahead and plate. Put a little bit of garnishes in it. All right, and that's how you make winter squash and lion's mane pozole. Thanks for watching.
Mushrooms are so good.
The mushrooms are too
They're
good.
so good. They never miss.